Hello and welcome back to Everything Tumbler Tutorials. My name is Rebecca Escott and I cannot wait to show you what we're going to do with this 20-ounce skinny. We're going to turn it into a Christmas tumbler. I actually did this holographic using the Tack It method on my live in my group, Everything Tumbler Tutorials, using Fire It Up, which is a holographic, simply gorgeous color. I didn't know what I was going to do with it until now, and so I cannot wait to show you. We're going to use sterling silver, which is a chunky holographic mix for this tumbler, as we're going to do an ombre effect. So here I've already mixed the Quick Set by Glitter Craze 5 mLs. It does not take much for the glitter epoxy method. So you're going to see I'm just going to rub it in really good. And then you'll see that I kind of not necessarily thin it out, but rubbing it down super smoothly, just making sure that I've got the entire tumbler covered with the Quick Set. So as you can see, it has two sections on the shakers, and I'm going to go with the smaller section of the shaker, which is like 3 little holes. But that way I have far more control when placing the glitters. As you can see, I'm tilting the tumbler kind of at a downward angle and just letting the glitter kind of apply naturally. Now, you can't see this in screen, but I am shaking super vigorously because those larger chunks get in those holes and kind of lock it up. So you have to shake really hard to get out the glitter. But I felt like I had far more control doing it this way than opening it wide open. I do go a little thicker at the bottom, as you can see, kind of covering up the red and letting it glide an ombre up and around into the center. As you can see at the bottom of this tumbler, I will clean off that before the final coat of epoxy. Here off camera, I did seal that glitter, and then I applied 10 mLs again of the Quick Set by Glitter Craze. I'm going to allow this to dry, and in the meantime, we're going to go ahead and work on the image. So here I'm in Cricut Design Space, and I wanted to show you my Merry Christmas design, which I purchased off of Etsy from Pamela Green Designs. I'll have the link down below for that as well. Once you have your size measured out that you want, then you can duplicate this image. Slide that on over and go to where it says fill, because we want to do a no fill. So essentially it's going to make this a cut automatically, and I'm going to cut that using white Oracle 651 vinyl. Here I slide it over top just to make sure everything looks right before I proceed. Once you're satisfied, then you can go to the upper right hand corner and click Make It. Now typically water slides are going to print and then want to cut before your vinyl, which is typically okay, but I always cut with scissors, so I'll just print this and then I'll cut it out later. Now for this image, I will certainly allow my Cricut to cut that design because it needs to be precise. I've already done all of this, so we'll get to the table and I'll show you how we're going to move forward. Oh, I guess I should mention, get to the printer section and then take the bleed off. So here I already have it cut, and I'm so excited to show you. I finally bought the Mr. Nolas weeding pen. Super fun, super easy, and super fast shipping, guys. I will have that link down below for you as well. So quick, it makes my life so much easier versus than having to use my X-Acto knife. So my image has cut perfectly, and I'm just going to put a contact paper on there, cut that square out, and we're ready to apply it to the tumbler. My water slide, it has been sealed 3 times using matte enamel clear spray. Once that completely dries, I then cut it out. So here I'm ready to go ahead and place my vinyl Oracle 651. I'm doing this method simply to show you guys you can do this using clear water slide, and you don't necessarily have to use printable vinyl or the white water slide. I'm not a fan of the white water slide at all. And sometimes the printable vinyl is super thick and bulky, which I'm also not a fan of. So as with any vinyl decal, you want to make sure that you get it centered and placed where you want it, and then work from the center out. And this helps you prevent wrinkles and or bubbles on your tumbler. And so once you feel like you have this well placed onto your tumbler, you can go ahead and remove your transfer paper. This vinyl is going to allow my water slide to show up flawlessly, because without that vinyl backing, this image would not be seen. It wouldn't show up at all. As you can see, I've already cut it out, and we're going to go ahead and get it into the water and let it soak and apply it to the tumbler. As you will soon see, I kind of let this just accidentally flop onto the cup. And so you'll see me a couple of times with my X-Acto knife on the back side of this tumbler, just trying to remove the wrinkles that occurred. So just take your time. Take your time, guys, when placing this water slide. There's literally zero rush. At this point, I did not wet the cup. I did not wet the vinyl, and yet it still felt a little bit like a slip and slide. So you'll see me here in the next couple of seconds and or minutes, and you'll see that I'm tweaking the placement of my water slide onto my vinyl. Also keep in mind that if your vinyl stretches the outskirts of your vinyl, it isn't going to matter, because the cup essentially has already been epoxied, and therefore with the final coat of epoxy, you're not going to be able to see those water slide lines. What you do want to make sure and be cautious of is where there's letters, like in this case where it says Christmas. I want to make sure that I have that lined up as it should be. The top and the sides, I'm not at all worried about. It is the letters that's going to be my main focal point, essentially. So again, you have plenty of time to work with this, and I actually had to bring in my paper towel much sooner, just to kind of dry it up a little bit, as like I said before, it was a little bit tedious and slipped a little bit more than what I'm actually used to it doing. So during this process, just continue to tweak it until you're satisfied, and then you're going to either want to set this off to the side or back on your turner as I do, and allow it to dry either overnight or a good 45 minutes to a solid hour. You want to make sure there's no air pockets and that it's dry before applying your final coat of epoxy. That's super important. So for tutorial purposes, I actually did use another coat of Quick Set by Craze, simply because we had a major storm coming through and there was the risk of power outage. And I knew that after an hour, this cup, I could stop the turner if in fact I did lose power, and it would essentially stop anyways. So I wasn't able to do the final coat using the KS resin and or the artist resin from Counterculture DIY. So stinking cute. I freaking love this tumbler. It is one of my favorites. Again, so don't forget to allow the dry time before you apply your final coat of epoxy. So for the Quick Set by Glitter Craze, I went ahead and I did mix 20 mLs on this coat, which is not a big deal, but it's not going to be my final coat. If you guys appreciated this video, please don't forget to hit that like button. Don't forget to subscribe. And if you have any questions about this tumbler or any other of my tutorials, please ask me down below, as I do my very best to answer every single question. Once you're satisfied with your epoxy coat, go ahead and hit it with a quick torch and make sure you pop any bubbles that you may or may not be able to see. Thank you so much for watching, and I can't wait to see you next time.